أهلا بكم مشاهدينا في هذه المقابلة الخاصة مع دولة رئيس وزراء إقليم كردستان السيد مسرور بارزاني. أهلا بك دولة الرئيس على شاشة الشرق. لأبدأ مباشرة بالحديث عن سلسلة الهجمات بالمسيرات على منشآت نفطية في الإقليم. هل تكشفت الجهة المسؤولة؟
Well, first of all, it's good to be with you. There are investigations going on to find out who precisely is behind the attacks. We have some information, but I'd rather wait until the relevant authorities come up with their own conclusion of the investigation. So it's clear who is behind it, but I'd rather not talk about it until the final results of the investigations are out.
معنى ذلك بأن بالنسبة للجهات المسؤولة عن كل هذا تعلمونها جيدا، ولكن أنتم في طور التحقيق والتحقق من هوية هؤلاء. معلومة.
Absolutely. We are cooperating also with the coalition forces and also with the federal government in Baghdad and also our relevant authorities here, the security authorities here in Kurdistan region are doing the investigation to find out who is exactly behind it, but we have a pretty good idea. We just not we don't want to talk about it until the final results are out.
دولة الرئيس، يقال أن توقيت الهجمات، التوقيت الذي حدثت فيه هذه الهجمات مرتبطة باستثمارات لشركات أمريكية في مجال النفط. ما رأيك؟
Like I said, I can't comment on behalf of the motive or the intention of the attackers. Why it happened at the moment, but it definitely coincides with the agreements that we've signed with the American companies. Whether this triggered the attack or not, that has to remain to be seen. And also, I think we'll figure out afterward, after the investigation is completed.
هنالك موقف أمريكي ضاغط واضح لمعرفة الجهات المنفذة للهجمات، هي داعمة أيضا جدا، وتأمين هذه البيئة الاستثمارية في إقليم كردستان يعني بعيدا عن أي انفلات أمني. ما هو دور الإقليم في ذلك؟
We are cooperating with the coalition forces. Americans are our allies, so we definitely are sharing information with them, and they are also welcome to participate in any investigation, because some of the fields that were attacked were operated by American companies. So it's very natural that we have a close cooperation with both the American authorities and also with the federal government. And we appreciate any effort and help to basically stop these attacks against any facilities here in Kurdistan region, as we are trying to not only survive economically but to thrive and make sure that Kurdistan becomes a safe place for investors.
ما تقييمكم دولة الرئيس للوضع الأمني في كردستان بشكل عام؟ هذا نتحدث يعني في ظل هذه التهديدات الراهنة، هل هنالك خطر حقيقي من عودة داعش أو خلايا داعش؟
Well, Kurdistan has always been relatively a very safe place in a very turbulent region. As you've seen, there are problems all over the region, but Kurdistan has been safe. And many people from different parts of the region, especially different parts of Iraq, are seeking refuge and coming to Kurdistan because they feel safe. But that doesn't mean that the threat of ISIS or extremists is over. No. There are still sleeping cells of Daesh in different parts in the region, not in Kurdistan region, but in general, in Iraq, in Syria, and they need to be closely monitored. For that, we are also cooperating with all of our friends to make sure that ISIS doesn't come back like they did in the past. But they're still there, they're still a serious threat, and they need to be monitored very closely.
ماذا عن حزب العمال الكردستاني؟ كيف تتعاملون مع وجود هذه القوات هنا؟ إلى أي مدى أيضا بعد قرار تسليم سلاح حزب العمال وتنفيذه إن كان رمزيا الأسبوع الماضي، كيف تتعاملون معهم؟
We welcome the peace process initiative. We welcome the Turkish PKK talks about ending the war, and of course the message from PKK's leader, Mr. Öcalan, to disarm. I think this is a good step forward, And we hope that all these ongoing conflicts and problems will come to an end, because we have been suffering from the ongoing war. 800 of our villages were not even rebuilt because of the clashes and the confrontations. So with the end of this problem, we hope that our people can get back to their villages and to their regions. Now, we have to wait and support the idea of this peace process to succeed. And we have to wait and see how it will unfold.
ماذا عن مسار المفاوضات لتشكيل الحكومة الجديدة في كردستان؟ أين وصلت الأمور؟
We have agreed on the agenda for the next government, which basically will be the continuation of the previous cabinet or the current cabinet that we have. And now we are talking about some of the posts, especially between KDP and PUK, and I'm hopeful that we can reach a desirable solution which would also be reasonable and consistent with the results of the election.
بأي شكل دولة الرئيس؟ هل هنالك أي ارتباط بين تشكيل الحكومة في كردستان وتشكيلها في بغداد؟ وبحاجة أن أعلم عن رأيكم أيضا في مطالبة بعض السنة الحصول على منصب رئاسة الجمهورية في المقابل أن تذهب رئاسة البرلمان إلى الكرد.
Well, Kurdistan elections are for the Kurdistan government, the Kurdistan regional government. They are not directly linked with what's the next upcoming elections in November in Iraq. So we hope that we can form our government before the elections in Iraq takes place. But of course, everything is interrelated. I mean, we are still talking about one country. Now, regarding the, if you repeat the same, the last part of your question.
موضوع أن المطالبة، البعض يطالب، بعض السنة يطالبون بالحصول على منصب رئاسة الجمهورية، في المقابل تذهب رئاسة البرلمان إلى الكرد.
Look, we are talking about some three main components. You have Sunni Arabs, Shia Arabs, and then you have Kurds. We have also Turkomans and Christians. We have Assyrians, we have Chaldeans, we have different components in this country. But the three main ones are Kurds and Arabs. Now, it doesn't really make much sense if all executive branches are held by one nationality. And, it's, even if it's a symbolic gesture, the Kurds prefer to have the presidency. Because this has been the norm. I mean, there is no law for it, but there has been the norm that in the past formations of the government and selection of positions, presidency has always been designated for a Kurdish candidate, and we hope that this will continue to preserve the unity and also show that Kurds are one of the main components of this country.
بما أننا نتحدث عن العلاقة مع بغداد، هنالك قرار تركي تعلمون بوقف استيراد النفط عبر الأنبوب الواصل لبناء جيهان. تبحث أيضا أنقرة في المقابل على اتفاق شامل مع بغداد. كيف تعلقون على ذلك؟
There is a long contract between Iraq and Turkey on the ITP, the Iraqi-Turkish pipeline, that will come to an end in 2026. So less than a year, this will come to an end. Now it's a Turkish decision to decide whether they want to renew their contract with Baghdad or not. We've heard that Turkey has not accepted to renew on the same conditions. So maybe there will be new conditions, and that's something that has to happen within the two countries. How it will be, we still don't know. I think there is still a lot of time to negotiate any upcoming deals. But Turkey has not stopped the export of oil. It was the decision by the court after the Iraqi Ministry of Oil filed a lawsuit, and a decision by a French court stopped the export of oil. So, which as a result, I think everybody lost a lot.
أين وصلت المفاوضات مع بغداد حول قانون النفط والغاز؟ هل تتوقعون تسوية قريبة ربما، أم أن الجمود سيستمر؟ لأنه هذا هو سؤال المليار.
Well, this is a question that I hope Baghdad will answer, because we were ready to pass the oil and gas law in 2007. There have been few attempts since, and unfortunately that law has not been passed in the federal government. This is the best way forward to take care of all of the the outstanding issues that now exist between Baghdad and Erbil and in general. So this oil law is very important for us to have, and we are ready to continue re-engaging with Baghdad on having a law that would be moderate and new, that would also serve a federal Iraq, because the law that currently Baghdad is relying on is a law of the past, and it does not represent the federal government.
أين وصلت الأمور في موضوع الرواتب والموازنة؟ لأن الملفات ما زالت شائكة. هل هنالك حل دائم حول اتفاق، أم العلاقة ستظل رهينة هذه التجاذبات والمناكفات؟
Well, it's very unfortunate that the salaries of people become a political card or become a dispute between Baghdad and Erbil. By law, by the constitution, people are entitled to receive their salaries without delay, without any problems. But unfortunately, using the salaries of people as a political pressure is something that's unacceptable. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. Even the court, the federal court, decided that the salaries of people should not be a part of any dispute between Baghdad and Erbil. But unfortunately, we've seen that for 3 months, the salaries were delayed, and only recently, in the last couple of days, the salaries for May have been released. And we are now towards the end of July. Yeah. So we expect that the salaries for June and July also are coming through. But to be quite frank with you, Kurdistan as a federal entity is entitled to have its budget, not just the salaries, but a budget of the overall Iraqi budget. This is the right way. The right way is that Kurdistan will contribute to the Iraqi revenue, and it will receive a budget from the overall Iraqi revenues. This is not the case today. Now the Ministry of Finance at the federal level is interfering in the very details of the salaries and the budget of Kurdistan region, which is a violation of the constitution and the rights of Kurdistan. So the best way and the final and the most reasonable solution, the most constitutional solution, would be to agree on a budget for Kurdistan in the next budget law.
دولة الرئيس، بغداد تصر بأن الإشكالات الحاصلة هي إشكالات فنية وليست سياسية. كيف تعلقون؟
Well, these are absolutely political issues, because if they were technical or legal, we have sent delegations back and forth to Baghdad, and all of these technical and legal issues have been solved. Every time we were promised that there is no more technical issues left for the salaries to come, but at some point new problems would surface. And just to prove the point that this is a political problem, we can look back and see how Baghdad has treated Kurdistan in other areas. For instance, there has been a 3.5 million people have been hired in Iraq in the last few years. Not a single one of them was for Kurdistan. $50 billion have been borrowed by the federal government. Not a single dollar was for Kurdistan, but in paying back the debts, Kurdistan had to pay back from its share. So we're not benefiting from it, but we had to pay from Kurdistan's share. More than 7 million people from the social care in Iraq are paid by the federal government. Only 72,000 of them are from Kurdistan. That's 1%. So there is a lot of discrimination. There is a lot of injustice, unfairness in dealing with Kurdistan. Therefore, there is no way, but there is a strong political tendency to put more pressure on Kurdistan, to marginalize Kurdistan, to weaken Kurdistan, and the salaries are for sure used as a political pressure against Kurdistan.
كيف تقيمون دولة الرئيس موقف المحكمة الاتحادية تجاه حقوق الإقليم مع قدوم رئيس جديد؟ يعني هل تعتبرونه مسيسا؟
Well, you know that there has been some changes in the federal court, and the recent makeup of the federal court, again, it has to be, by the Constitution, it has to get the approval of the Parliament. So a federal court that is consistent with the Constitution has to be formed according to how it's stipulated in the Constitution. But now with the changes that have been happened, I think the decisions they've made, they've tried to at least stay away from the areas where they think it's not in their jurisdiction. So the couple of decisions the new federal court made, I think were fair and just.
مشاهدينا فاصل قصير ومن ثم نعاود الحوار، كونوا معنا. ما أبرز العقبات التي تمنع تفعيل المادة 140؟ هذه المادة طبعا هي خاصة بتحديد وضع المناطق المتنازع عليها في العراق، لا سيما في كركوك.
The biggest obstacle is the political will. There is no will in Baghdad to implement Article 140. And it's been many, many years. And there is a roadmap of how to implement Article 140. People have been compensated to leave, the ones that were brought in to change the demography of the region. But unfortunately, they took their compensation, but they never left. And now there is also the continuation of the same policy of demographic change in the region. It hasn't stopped. There is still harassment of our people, in, whether they are farmers, whether they are indigenous inhabitants in those areas. And the process is not going forward because the political will is lacking. Mm-hmm. When there is a will, there is a way. And there is a constitutional way of implementing Article 140, but unfortunately it hasn't been done because, like I said, there is not a strong will and desire in Baghdad to implement Article 140.
ماذا عن البرنامج الإصلاحي لحكومة الإقليم دولة الرئيس في مختلف المجالات، خاصة فيما يتعلق برقمنة الخدمات العامة، تطوير البنية التحتية؟
Well, there has been a lot of reforms in Kurdistan, as you may have seen. More recently, there have been some very obvious changes, especially in the electricity. I can say that the only 3 cities in the entire country that have 24-hour electricity are in Kurdistan. It's Suleimania, Erbil, and Duhok. And also we are planning to provide 24-hour electricity by next year for all of Kurdistan. And we are also giving electricity to other parts of the country. There is a lot more that we can do if there is a better understanding and more support. So that's one of the reforms that we see the results that we've started a year ago, and now we already see the results. And by next year, we can see that all of Kurdistan will be covered by 24-hour electricity. And also water projects. Just a few days ago, I announced the water project for Erbil, which will provide enough water for the city, and that will get rid of a problem that's been there for more than 30 years, and it will solve the problem for additional 30 years in the future. And Erbil now is the only city in the entire country that doesn't have water problems. Of course, there are some adjustments that need to be done with the new system, but these are some of the things that people already see. And also in the banking sector and digitalization of the services. We have done a lot of things that may not be so visible as these other projects, but that's the infrastructure that we are building for the economy of Kurdistan. And we are trying to provide better services for people. Even if you look at other sectors like the health sector or highways, you see that there is a lot of projects going on to help facilitate for people, and also to improve the life standards of not only Kurdish people who live here, but also those who visit Kurdistan. We have bigger plans for tourism. in different parts of the country. And these are all coming. And hopefully soon you will see a major transformation in all of these sectors in Kurdistan.
دولة الرئيس، في ظل تعليق صادرات النفط عبر تركيا، بحث أنقرة أيضا هذا الاتفاق الشامل مع بغداد، ما هو البديل؟ هل لديكم خطط اقتصادية مطروحة؟ هل لديكم خطط تطويرية جديدة؟ هل لديكم رؤية بما يتعلق بهذا الأمر؟
We are trying to cooperate with the federal government for the best solution. Like you asked in your previous question, if we have the oil law, I think we can address all of these issues very easily. Without that, it would still be a challenge. We don't want more confrontation. We want more cooperation with the federal government and also with the neighboring countries. We hope that we can still find a way to export oil through Turkey, and I think we are close to that, as there has been a new agreement with the federal government to export oil. And of course, if there are other options, we are more than happy to explore and see. You know, the entire region needs energy, and we have the energy. We are willing to provide that energy in the best format that's possible.
بالحديث عن الاتفاقيات والبحث عن بدائل، الإقليم يسعى لإبرام عقود جديدة مع شركات دولية أو شركات دولية بعيدا عن بغداد، وإذا ما تحدثنا حدث، ما تداعيات ذلك؟
Look, I think we have to get back to the constitution again. Kurdistan has constitutional rights to explore, develop, and sign contracts with companies. And all of the contracts in the past have been disputed. And the courts in Baghdad ruled in favor of the Kurdistan IOC contracts. So there is no reason, there is no obstacles for Kurdistan to not sign additional contracts with oil companies who may be interested in coming and investing in Kurdistan. It's a constitutional right that Kurdistan has, and we are not going to give up that right.
دولة الرئيس، هل هنالك نية لتحويل أربيل إلى مركز تجاري لوجستي إقليمي؟ وإن تم ذلك، ما أبرز التحديات بالنسبة لكم؟
Of course, it's our intention to turn Kurdistan into an economic hub, not only for Kurdistan region, but for the entire country, for all of Iraq, and for the region. We have the potential, we have natural resources, we have the institutions, and we have the vision. We can turn this country into a much stronger economic hub and base for the region. But of course, we need to have a common vision. In Baghdad also, we hope that they would be supportive and see the successes in Kurdistan as the successes for the entire country. And to be quite frank, I've said it when I opened the project a few days ago, that we are willing to use our experience in other parts of Iraq. Iraq is a rich country. It has the resources, and it can do it. All they need is the right management. We have the good experience, and we have the will to share our experience with other parts of Iraq, and we can start from there. And then they can see that cooperating on success is much more profitable than trying to stop us from succeeding and moving forward.
لنتحدث عن علاقة الإقليم مع دول الخليج، تحديدا المملكة العربية السعودية، كيف تصفونها؟
We have tremendous respect for the leadership and the people of Saudi Arabia. We have historic relations with the royal family and also with the government and the people of Saudi Arabia. We are willing to engage more, and we are hoping that the Saudi investors especially are looking at Kurdistan as a new investment region that they can come in, and together I think we can benefit for the sake of both countries. So we do have very good relations, but we still want to have more engagements and more Saudi businesses and perhaps even Kurdish businessmen looking at the opportunities in Saudi Arabia.
ماذا عن العلاقة مع أنقرة حاليا؟ كيف تصفون العلاقة مع تركيا؟ وهل تتدخل تركيا في القرار السياسي الكردي؟
To be frank, we have good relations with Turkey, and our relations have improved over the years. there is a better understanding. There is a lot of economic relations and trade that we have with Turkey, and also there are common challenges that we had with Turkey. So I would consider our relations very good, and Turkey hasn't really interfered in the internal politics of our region. No, but obviously they had problems with PKK and the ongoing war in our region, especially on the border areas, which I hope with the new initiative this will come to an end. So there is a lot more to look forward to for a much brighter future and better relations with Turkey as well.
كيف تتعاملون دولة الرئيس مع الضغوط الإيرانية؟ برأيك هل هنالك توازن أم انحياز؟
Iran is a big neighbor for the entire country, and also we share a long border with Iran. We understand that they have some major concerns when it comes to their own national security. I think there is a lot of exaggeration sometimes, and also there is perhaps a side that always, accuses Kurdistan or makes false allegations about Kurdistan, but Kurdistan always respects its relationship with all of its neighbors, also with Iran. And Kurdistan has never been a part of any conspiracy, or it will not be a part of any source of threat for any of the neighboring countries. So I believe there is a lot of exaggeration and many false allegations that sometimes, I wouldn't say everybody, but some people accuse Kurdistan of. But we also had officials from Iran coming to Kurdistan and thanking the authorities in Kurdistan for its responsible stand, especially in the last problems that the region went through.
هنالك تطورات تحصل في سوريا، معلوم الوضع هناك. تحدي آخر أمام الحكومة السورية الجديدة الآن يتعلق بالكرد تحديدا مع قسد. برأيك هل سيكون شكل العلاقة بين الطرفين كيف تصفونه؟ هل سيلعب برأيك الإقليم أي دور وساطة بينهما؟
This is a different country. We cannot interfere, we cannot dictate, we cannot tell what they want and what they should do. But obviously we have expressed our willingness to mediate if there is a possibility, especially that we have a lot of influence on the Kurds in Syria, and there has been a lot of talks. And President Masrur Barzani invited the Kurdish factions to come to Kurdistan, and he gave them instructions to unite and also to reach an agreement with Damascus for a much better future. But of course, this has to be a two-way relationship. Damascus also has to open up to the Kurds and also accommodate their needs. And the rest is really up to the Kurds and Alawis, Druze, Arabs, everybody in Syria to come up and agree on a formula that would best serve the interests of everyone in the country. So we hope that Syria would have an inclusive government, respecting the rights of all communities, and everybody will eventually come out of the ashes of wars of so many years in Syria. So we definitely support a more stable Syria that is better for all of us.
هل ما زالت الولايات المتحدة ضامنا أساسيا للإقليم، وكيف تصفون العلاقة مع الولايات المتحدة؟
We are very thankful for all the support that the United States always given to Kurdistan, and we do look at them as one of our closest partners and supporters. We are indebted to the support they've given us during the wars with ISIS, and their continuous support for Kurdistan is invaluable. So we do appreciate the support from the US, and we are looking forward to enhancing our relations with the US even to further levels.
هل تؤيدون دولة الرئيس إحياء عملية السلام بين تركيا و PKK؟ وهل لإقليم كردستان دور في هذا الملف كذلك؟
We think it's a very good initiative. I hope that it will succeed. We've been talking to both sides, encouraging them to make sure that this peace talks succeed, which we think that the entire region will benefit from.
دولة الرئيس، بما أنكم جيران مع إيران وتحدثت عن الأمر باستفاضة، ماذا وكيف ترون هذا الصراع بين إيران وإسرائيل؟
Nobody wants war. We definitely don't. We think that any confrontation, any war, any deterioration of security in the region will have a bad impact on everyone, including us. So we hope that eventually peace and prosperity will prevail, that this will be the end of wars and a new phase of peace talks and stability will replace all these confrontations.
إلى أي مدى برأيك تؤثر هذه التهديدات الإسرائيلية لإيران عليكم؟ كيف تنعكس؟ إلى أي مدى قلقون من حيث هذا التهديد؟
Look, we are not a part of this problem. We are caught in the middle. We don't support any wars. We don't support instability in the region. We hope that peace and dialogue replaces threats and wars.
دولة الرئيس، شكرا على هذه المساحة الحوارية. مشاهدينا، الشكر موصول لكم وإلى اللقاء.
Thank you very much. شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا.